Did you know that in the modern era, on the surface of the Earth during the year erupts about 4 cubic kilometers of lava? On a planet scale, it's quite a bit. But if its number increased at times, this would lead to global climate change. We know this from geological history. About 65 million years ago, the supercontinent of Gondwana was disintegrated. Then huge masses of magma climbed critically high to the surface and began to pour through giant faults long up to 100 kilometers. Then, in 30,000 years, on the land square, almost 1 million cubic meters of lava. This caused a real cataclysm and climate change. Fantastic show. Hot lava flows into the waters of the Pacific Ocean. This awesome meeting of the elements sends us back in time. Stormy period, when all the volcanic islands of the Earth were formed, from Hawaiian and Canary to Iceland and smoked. The very process of meeting lava and water is very interesting. The first thing that happens, this is the rapid evaporation of large volumes of steam, which in the form of fog rises above the shore. He seems harmless, but really though, its chemical composition is oversaturated with acids and other toxic substances. At the same time, the water cools the lava fast. In consequence of what? She turns into volcanic glass, famous obsidian, and not so famous pearlites. Volcanic pearls. Surface formed from the influence of lava into water. Seems dense, but because of the fast cooling, it's a shore pillow, very porous, and the breed itself is fragile and sharp. You definitely shouldn't walk barefoot on it. Spectacle. Incredibly cinematic, especially when viewed from the sea. What can do? The sight of a volcano erupting is even more epic. Only dirty thunderstorm. This is a majestic synergy of nature that shakes to the core. Volcanic thunderstorm occurs as lightning in a cloud, which rises from the crust of a volcano, while an ordinary thunderstorm, connected with electric charges of ice crystals in a regular cloud, volcanic formed due to collision. Electric potentials, ash and condensed gas particles, rising during the eruption. In addition, a large amount of water appearing in the process of eruption enhances lightning energy, so the show turns out really powerful. Enough to say, what's the biggest lightning activity in the entire history of observation? It was recorded during volcanic eruptions of the famous Hunga Tonga Hunga Hapa. Classic of volcanic activity, ash ejection and slope bombing. This is Arenal Volcano in Costa Rica, height of 1,670 meters, and stands out for its absolutely correct conical form. Real sample Strat volcano. Arenal young volcano. His first eruption happened only 7,000 years ago. Until the middle of the 20th century, he was considered asleep, not showing activity for 400 years. And in the year 1968, the strongest eruption occurred when the lava covered the territory in 15 square kilometers. The scale of geological processes on our planet sometimes are just amazing. Cumbri volcano eruption in Yaca on the island of La Palma in the Canary Archipelago became the record holder for duration, whole 85 days, with short periods of calm. Cumber in Yehi is not a separate volcano, a ridge that includes several craters. And although calm temper these craters were not different, no one expected such a large-scale event. After a series of 22,000 tremors, There were 8 lava flows, who began their journey from the mountains to the shore. At a speed of 700 meters per hour, lava flow in some places reached terrifying 15 meters. As a result of lava eruption, covered more than 1,000 hectares of territory and eventually reached the ocean, destroying more than 3,000 buildings along the way. Assess the magnitude of the changes. The eruption of the island could only with the help of photos received from the European Copernicus satellite. And this is what a close-up lava flow looked like on the street. Island City. Just goosebumps. Lava has a poetic name as well. It is called the black blood of the planet. Look closely in her movement. You can really see something alive and beautiful. For a volcanologist, lava isn't just a fire stream which destroys everything in its path. First of all, it is a source of important information: temperature, flow speed, forms of hot and frozen surfaces. Everything is the subject of research. Certainly important lava composition. Of course, in general, there are only 3 varieties of it. Basaltic is the main type, erupted from the mantle. Flint, characteristic of the Pacific Ring of Fire. And mysterious carbonate lava. Cold, temperature not more than 600 degrees Celsius, and flowing like water. But to know the details, need to take a sample. For example, shovel, which will not melt because the melting point. Steel, 1400 degrees Celsius. And using a geological hammer and a bucket of water. Chemical composition of lava allows you to know the depth of its original occurrence, belonging to the volcanic system, potential toxicity of future eruptions, and in a global sense, to get closer to the mysteries, planetary processes. If, while watching this compilation, you fell in love with volcanoes and you want to see everything live, this volcano is a great option. Yasser active volcano on Tana Island, in the island state of Vanuatu. He is short, with a large crater, with a diameter of 400 meters, and is considered easily accessible to tourists. Of course, visiting such an object requires the participation of a guide, and volcanic activity during the tour should be at a minimum. When lava bombs fly from the crater, and the mountain is shaking from explosions, this is definitely not the right time for memorable photos. At the top, footage shot from the air help better understand the impact of volcanoes on the atmosphere. Ash emissions, gases, and water during major eruptions can reach the stratosphere. And also, aerial shoots are fantastically beautiful. Night visit to volcanoes is something special. Acquaintance with volcanoes always gives a bright experience, but sometimes it's something surreal. One can definitely say about Indonesian volcano Enjen. If you visit one of its craters at night, you can witness an unusual natural phenomenon. On the surface, glowing blue light. Volcanic gases. Cause of this, in high-temperature combustion of hydrogen sulfide, which lies in large numbers in the local rocks. Part of this gas condenses on the rocks and forms stalactites made of sulfur, which became a popular souvenir among tourists. Dark Eugene.
Thank you, Jen.
If snowboarding seems too corny for you, welcome to volcano boarding. As you can see, this sport looks very cool. Of course, not all volcanoes will fit. Need a suitable task slope with a thick layer, relatively soft volcanic ash. most popular route, sir, Negro in western Nicaragua. And the fact that this volcano is active only adds vivid emotions.